Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X, and today I've got a pretty cool video set up, one I've been wanting to do for quite some time. A little while back, I actually pitted the Camaro SS versus Mrs. X's car, the 2019 Scatpack Challenger, and we did some roll racing. And believe it or not, the Scatpack actually did fairly well, in my opinion, considering the Camaro has a 10-speed. Well, today, I've actually got the Draggy, which is right here. So we're gonna use the Draggy to actually measure which one of those two cars, the Camaro SS and the Challenger Scatpack Shaker, is actually faster from 60 to 130 miles an hour using the exact same tool, and we will actually know which car is faster. So it should be a fun one. Also, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell for more great content. Follow me on Instagram, and we are off. We got the 1,000 horsepower helmet. God. So for the purposes of this test, I will be using the Draggy once again. I feel like it's only fair to have the same device in both cars because we know that car timers can be a little bit inconsistent, and obviously we're going from a Mopar to a Chevy. So I feel like the Draggy is pretty darn cool because not only will it measure slope, it'll measure acceleration, it'll measure certainly speed in different increments. It's just a fantastic way to do this test. So for consistency, we've got to keep it fair. So we'll have the Draggy in both cars. Also, I want to apologize because some of these runs might be done kind of at night because it's getting dark already and it's only like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you got to love this time of year with daylight savings, but we're going to get it in one way or the other. One of the reasons that I like this type of test, this 60 to 130 test, is because it takes a lot of the variables out of play. Obviously, the biggest one being wheel spin. So now you can really tell what the car is capable of. Yeah, I know it simulates a roll race, and maybe that should favor the Camaro a little bit, which we'll talk about here in a second. But it does take a lot of the variables out of play, and we can really see how the two cars match up. Okay, after sitting in traffic for quite a while, I actually managed to finally get here at Cooley Dodge in Irving, Texas. So let's go inside and find my buddy Daniel. We'll get the keys to the Camaro and we'll get this party started here. All right, so there we have it. There is the Camaro SS that I was talking about. Actually, a really nice car. Just got done driving it around a little bit, and I will tell you a little bit more about it. Of course, Mrs. X's 2019 Challenger Scatpack. This Camaro SS is actually a 2018. So I know some people out there are like, look, that's not the newest one. It doesn't have the 10-speed. Yes, I am aware of that. It's going to be an 8-speed in this particular one. That's actually the one that I like the front of a lot better than the new one, believe it or not. They don't have a 2019 or 2020, which I probably will do another separate video on. But for now, we're going to match them up 8-speed versus 8-speed. So let's talk a little bit about the specs between the Camaro SS and the Challenger Scatpack. On the Scatpack, this thing actually weighs right about, 4,250 some odd pounds. Of course, we are looking at a naturally aspirated, this is a shaker variant, obviously, but this is a naturally aspirated 6.4 liter iron block, putting out 485 horsepower, 475 pound-feet of torque. And then when we look at the Camaro, we're looking at this is actually an aluminum block, 6.2 liter, naturally aspirated, putting out 455 horsepower, 455 pound-feet of torque. This is a much lighter car. This car weighs like 4,675. So in effect, this car is almost 600 pounds lighter than the Challenger. Of course, we do know that the Challenger makes a little bit more horsepower, about 30 more horsepower. So this should make for a very interesting matchup when we talk about how they're going to do from 60 to 130. Now, both of these cars actually have a couple little goodies on there. So this actually, as you know, is Mrs. X's car, which has a full X-Mod exhaust from MagnaFlow, which is fantastic. But also the Camaro has a MagnaFlow catback exhaust as well. So I just want to show you that. These cars do not have a whole lot done to them, guys. They are basically stock, a couple very light bolt-ons, but from a power perspective, they should still be basically equivalent to like what a stock car would be or close to it. I will say that this Camaro SS is pretty cool looking at night. I love the fact that you can actually change the lighting in this car. So, you know, whatever mood you're in, I guess you can kind of change the lighting color in here. And it has a really nice look and feel, especially at night for some reason. I don't know why. You do sit a little further down in this car, and we'll talk a little bit about how this car actually rides here momentarily, but I just wanted to show you the interior of the Camaro, and then of course the Scatpack. You've got the bigger Mopar seats in here. You sit up a little bit higher. This is more of a driver-centric car. As we know, the Challengers do wrap around towards the driver. Just a very different look and feel inside these two cars. And here you can see the sitting position or the driving position inside the Camaro SS. You can see it's actually a much smaller dash here, but the car actually sits up quite high above you. When you're sitting in this, you feel like you're really sitting down in the car. You can see how high the sills are. They're basically shoulder height with where I sit. So the windshield in this car is quite small, and of course the rear view is even smaller. So it just takes a little bit of getting used to in the Camaro. I do like the Camaro quite a bit, just a little bit of getting used to. The gauges in this car are actually beautiful, and the center screen here is quite usable, and the I will say the vents on this car are always something that intrigue me. Certainly you can turn your temperature up and down right here, and that's just something unique to the Camaro. I think that's pretty cool. All right, I realize it's pretty dark in the car, but I'm to my spot, so we're gonna go ahead and try round one of 60 to 130 in the 2018 Camaro SS, and we'll see how it goes. I've got the Draggy basically all hooked up here. Let's see what happens. Here we go. All right, good little run there out of the Camaro, and let's see what happened there. 60 to 130 on that was a 10.73. That's actually pretty impressive. Pretty solid work there from the Camaro. Okay, here we go. Round two. Let's see what happens here. And we're off. Car's running good. She's really ripping. All she wrote. Okay, that one 10.81. So car's pretty consistent. Couple of really good runs out of the Camaro. Let's try one more time, and we should have a good baseline. Okay, so that rounds out the 3 runs for the 2018 Camaro SS. And I have to admit, I do know that the DA tonight is really good, but this thing threw down some pretty solid numbers. I mean, I'm actually quite impressed. A 10.73, a 10.81, and a 10.85. So let's actually see what that averages out to be. So that actually averages out to be a 10.79 for the Camaro SS. That is going to be tough for the Scatpack to beat. I think last time I ran the Scatpack, keep in mind, it was really hot outside. The DA was terrible, but it ran like somewhere in the 13s. So it will be really interesting to see what happens. All right, now I am aboard the 2019 Challenger Scatpack, and we're going to go down to the spot, and we will see how this one stacks up. I was really impressed. 10.79 in the Camaro as a run average of 3 runs. That's going to be tough to beat. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, here we go. Round 1 in the Scatpack. Draggy's ready. Rolling into the throttle. Car's moving. That one was 11.38, so not quite as good as the Camaro. Car felt like it was really pulling hard on the low end, And on the top end, the Camaro definitely felt like it might have been pulling a little harder. So 11.38, let's see if we can better that. All right, so here we go, round 2. Reset the draggy. Let's see what happens. 2019 Scatpack. Gonna roll into the throttle so I don't spin. Car really feels good coming off like 50, 60 mile an hour. All right, that was a little better. That one was an 11.07, so definitely improving a little bit. So who knows, maybe the Scatpack will keep getting faster. We'll see. Well, that concludes the 3 pulls in the 2019 Challenger Scatpack. And results a little bit interesting. 11.38, 11.07 on the second pull. And then the last one, 11.44, was slower. I do feel like maybe the car built a little bit of heat because I'm just kind of hot lapping the thing. But it was slower than the Camaro. So the Camaro averaged a 10.79, and when I average these 3, it actually averages an 11.29, so exactly a half second difference. But when I actually look a little bit closer at the numbers, it tells an interesting story. So when I look at these 3 runs a little bit closer for both cars, the 60 to 90 metric, which is pretty cool, the draggy actually tells me all of this, are almost identical between these 2 cars. So 60 to 90, the 2 cars are identical. The Camaro really doesn't start pulling ahead of the Scatpack until you get up really into the triple digit numbers. And then that's really where the Camaro shines. But of course, as I mentioned, the Camaro, it's more aerodynamic and it's 600 pounds lighter. So the Camaro is just, it's made to handle those high speeds a little bit better. Now, I would hazard to guess if we were able to get, say, like a 30 to 60 metric in this as well, where I'm going all out, the Scatpack would actually be the faster car in that metric. It's interesting how you compare these 2 cars. Well, guys, there you go. The result is pretty conclusive. We took the averages, and the Camaro SS, even in the 8-speed version, is about a half second faster from 60 to 130 than the Challenger Scatpack. And Mrs. X's Scatpack is pretty solid performing car, but I think just the aerodynamics and the weight difference are just too much for it to overcome on the top end. Like I said, I mean, lower down in the RPM band, certainly at the lower speeds, the Scatpack definitely has the torque advantage, and the numbers definitely told an interesting story, because I think from like 30 to 60, the Scatpack is definitely the faster car. From 60 to 90, they're almost equal. And then from 90 to that 130, the Camaro starts to pull ahead. And that's about what I expected. So definitely a fun little experiment. These things are always fun to try. I do want to take one quick second and thank my buddies here at Cooley Dodge, which is in Irving, Texas, as always, for letting me borrow their cars. They're always fantastic to deal with. So if you need something, make sure you give these guys a call and they will get you squared away. And that is about it for this one. So thank you guys for sticking in there with me, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.